Hi, One Stars and fellow YouTubians. Oh, we're having a little bit of technical difficulty right now. I'm just waiting for Rachel to log on. So let me see. I think she just messaged me. Let's see. So she just messaged me saying she is on her way. So thank you for joining me. For those of you in Edmonton, it's clearing up a little bit now, so that's wonderful. Hi, Kira. Thank you for joining me this afternoon. As I mentioned, I'm just waiting for Rachel. We're going to do, this is my last Tea with the Universe until the fall. I'm taking the summer off so I can go camping and enjoy the great outdoors. I'm really feeling drawn to that this year, to spend my time with my feet in the grass or in the dirt or in the sand. So I'm looking forward to that. Let me check my messages again. So she should be here momentarily. Oh, and let's see. I think she is here. Hi, Rachel. I'm getting a lot of feedback, a lot of echoing. Adventure time, yes, Kirath. I'm looking forward to it. It sounds okay now. Oh,
Does
nope,
it?
I can hear
it. Is the echoing at my end or at your end, Cynthia?
I'm not sure. I turned my microphone down, but I can still hear it. But it'll be Kirath or anyone else that's watching. Can you please let me know if you hear any echoing in the background? So how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. Welcome back.
Thank you. It's nice to be back.
So you have a special guest today.
Yes, I do. And I was trying to work out whether I can put his picture behind me, but I don't know how to do that. So sorry.
Oh, that's okay. So can you tell us a little bit about this special guest?
Yes, of course. So the special guest today is King Oak, and if I can't find a way to share his picture while we're live, then I'll just have to share him afterwards. King Oak is a wonderful tree here. I'm in Scotland, in southwest Scotland, in Galloway, and he's a tree that I came across just over a year ago. As I started to explore the lands of Drumwell during lockdown, we have a queen oak in the garden, and I felt like I started to I joined a group called Personal Conversations with the Earth, and there was this conversations about trees, and I started to have these conversations with the trees. And I realised that she was quite isolated in the garden, and there would have been other trees around. And so I started to explore mainly oaks around the surrounding lands as I had more time. And there were all these amazing oaks actually that came forth. And I discovered this huge tree, which he kind of revealed himself as King Oak over in the far corner of the lands, and he's just this amazing specimen. And yeah, we've had some beautiful conversations and times together over the last year since we met, and I feel like we bring something beautiful out in each other, which has been really nice to explore.
That is wonderful. I know I have a picture of him. I'm looking for it right now because I can maybe share it in the link.
Cool.
So I'm going to try and do that.
That would be awesome. I did try to download a picture of him, but I'm not sure. On Zoom, sometimes you can put one in the background, but I don't know with it being through StreamYard what's possible.
I'm not sure.
I know.
Let's see. I'm not sure. I don't think I can take a picture. No, I can't.
Okay, that's fine. It was just making it go all echoey, so I think that we should not do that. We'll share him afterwards.
We will, absolutely. So, does he still have messages?
Yeah. For today, or for me, or for... Well, I feel like you should interview him as if you're interviewing him, and he will... I don't even know what to call that. He will speak through you, I guess.
You as his...
Okay. Yes. Absolutely. So pretend I am he, and you can converse with me as he.
Okay. So thank you for joining us. And am I speaking with King Oak now?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you very much for joining us today.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me here on the show.
Oh, you're welcome. The honor is mine. So tell me something about your journey.
Journey is a funny word for trees. We don't relate to the word journey in the way that humans relate to the word journey. I can tell you something of my presence.
Wonderful.
I'm present here in the lands of Drumwill, and I have been for many hundreds, thousands of years in some form, and I keep the land here. I care for it with regard, and for all my children, really, is the nearest word I can use, but his flock, his children. I care for my children, the trees and animals and plants, and with my benevolence, I look out for everything. I have awareness of how everything is and what's required, and I lead with kindness and presence and a bit of humour and some love.
That's wonderful. So for our viewers,
so can I speak as Rachel? So what I've really enjoyed to ask him about is how he rules his kingdom, because I have this sense of him being king, and I think our leadership is somewhat lacking sometimes on our planet at the moment. And I feel like he's really been showing me his way of leading, and also coming forward in a way that sort of reparents and reteaches us how to lead in a way that's aware but not interfering, not controlling, and that really has regard but awareness of things, and when to nudge and when to step back, and how to support and how to encourage. And he's really shown me a lot about that sort of thing.
Okay, so can I speak with King Oak again for a moment?
Yes.
Can you please share with myself and our viewers how you lead or guide your kingdom?
With kindness.
Can you elaborate?
Can you say what more you'd like to know?
How do you show your kindness?
I am kindness, so all my actions are kind. I am aware of every living thing, including Rachel, in my kingdom, and I treat them all with regard and kindness. Kindness means that I love them. I don't have a sense that they need to be a certain way, and I respect that each of them brings their own qualities and their own wisdom and their own way of drawing things out of me and of life, and I of them, and we meet each other as equals with regard and with respect to our roles. I respect my king role and they respect my king role, and I respect that each of them has a special gift and brings that to our land, and together we rule the land with regard for each other and all that is here.
Are you a protector?
Custodian. Caretaker. Custodian feels like the best word. It's like I will protect if I need to protect, and I don't need to protect in a lot of situations here, as the land is still fairly unspoilt and we all live together with regard for each other. And we have welcomed Rachael as part of our family, as she has included us in her family and created this way of co-generating is the best word I can use. Co-generating and it's like flourishing, bringing out of each other and encouraging each other and being present with each other in all that each of us are.
Do you have a message for Rachael?
Oh, that'll make me cry. We're really grateful to Rachael. She's brought something out of this land and out of us and out of me that has been sleeping for many years, by her curiosity and wonder and encouragement, and by her desire to change the world, and by her desire to bring all living things together to create a harmonious way of living on this planet. And I respect her deeply for that.
That's beautiful. Do you need a moment?
It's my honor, you know, it's my honor. It's my privilege. And it's my privilege to treat the trees as my family and to know that they are mine, because they have my backs so deeply and so kindly, and there's such like benevolence in their holding and encouragement and support of me that I've never experienced in my life before.
So, no pun intended, but definitely deep-rooted.
Deep-rooted and deep presence, you know, there's a really deep presence and a deep regard, like a really deep regard. And I feel, as Rachael, I feel like that's what's really missing on the planet, this deep regard. And the trees have shown me a lot about deep regard for ourselves and for each other and for life that we take and for life that we give, and just living with deep, kind regard. And they've got so much room for this deep regard, and I think they have a different sense of time because they're here much longer, and so they don't get so caught up in some of the short-term patterning, and they are a bit like kind old grandparents that have been around the block a lot of times.
And if I could speak to you, Rachel, for one moment, when did you realize that you could communicate with the trees or for the trees?
Okay, so I suppose I've always been able to communicate with things. I just didn't really appreciate it. And before I came to Drumwell, which is about 3 years ago, I used to communicate with bodies. I used to work a lot with bodies, and I could communicate them, and I could hear what they were saying. And so I guess, and I can speak with houses and businesses and the spirit of things, really. My senses, I speak with the spirit of things. But I think that being here has made it clearer to me what it is that I do, because it was something I just did without knowing what I did. And I only really started to, I guess I've channeled different things through my life, but I only really started to channel and talk with the trees over the last, really since last March, maybe. Before that, I kind of communicated with them energetically, but not verbally in such a deep way, if that makes sense. I kind of would tune into them energetically and offer energy and, you know, touch them and stuff. But it feels much more like a person-to-person relationship in the way that it's become fuller and deeper. And sometimes I realise that I have some gift in translating that I didn't really appreciate. And through my dialogue with the trees, I think they've shown me a bit of that more. I think there's probably still plenty more for me to discover about that. But also the way that they show me, like I have this way of duplicating what they're showing, which helps me to translate it to words. So one day, King Oak was showing me how to breathe. I asked him to show me how he breathed, and I kind of got a sense then in my body. And I don't think it's just the trees here. And I know we spoke before, but I had no plans to come here, and I'd never been here before. It called me on some level, and I felt like this deep sense of coming home. And I feel that that is living with all things. And the kites, the red kites, are beautiful, and I open my arms and I can sense her and the way she flies over, and there's a communion of being that takes place on a different level than I've experienced in my life. And I think partly that's because I've become much more receptive living in the middle of nowhere and just with nature and being open to that. And I also think it was perhaps there, I just didn't recognize it or develop it, or I didn't have any particular, I don't know, it's just really developed itself over the time. Sorry, that's not very clear.
It doesn't have to be. It's beautiful no matter the journey, the path, the way it happened. I'm grateful and I appreciate that you have accepted that gift that you've been blessed with and that you do communicate with and for them.
I feel like I need to. I feel a real strong sense at the moment that nobody's speaking for the earth and nobody's speaking for the trees and nobody's speaking for the animals. And people are trying to say what we should do for the planet, but they don't actually speak to it, and they don't actually ask it, and they don't speak to the trees, and they don't ask them. And all the time, even when we're trying to rectify some of the things that we've created, we're still doing it from assumption and from an egotistical perspective instead of actually communicating with them and seeing with this deep presence and deep regard what actually they require and what they would like from us, and how we can work with them. And to me, I want to be in a circle where I sit as equal to each life form, and for that to happen, to become my reality on this planet in my lifetime. That's what I desire, and that's what I'd really like.
Well, and I feel that's why you are where you are and you do what you do and you share what you share. Can we speak with King Oak again?
Yes.
I would like to ask you, can we invite our viewers to ask you questions as well?
Yes. And I would like to invite the viewers, maybe just for a moment, to sit with me. Maybe you'd all be willing to just close your eyes a moment and settle into your trunks, into your roots. And just imagine sitting here at Drumwell with all the moss and the trees that are kind, that have your backs, that want to support you, that care for you, and that want you to flourish and thrive and be your glorious selves and live in harmony with nature and your nature. Maybe for a moment we can just all sit in quiet in that for a moment. And you can lean into me and ask me questions at any time. I will always be here. I'm never going anywhere. The trees have a stability and a way of constantness and beingness that enables them to remain present. All we want is for you to let us hold you and help you to grow. And all we want is for you to be part of our family and for us to be part of yours. It would be our greatest honour. Thank you for listening to me today, and I am happy to accept questions.
Thank you for sharing and joining us today. I would like to ask if you have any message for me.
Cynthia, we adore you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for having us on the show. I speak for all trees now, and thank you for all that you do.
You're welcome. Thank you. Can I speak with Rachel for a moment?
Yes.
Rachel, we have one of our viewers that would like to know if you consider yourself a druid.
I don't consider myself anything, and I'm not so very good at labels. Maybe I could wear that hat, and like when you ask it, I could yes, I could say yes, I am, and yes, I've been that in many lifetimes. And in this lifetime, I'm not so very good at labels. I kind of have a sense of energies and things that I embody and access, but I'm not very attached. And sometimes I'm very reluctant to receive labels because sometimes I think they create a definition to something that doesn't allow things to totally have free flow and change form and shape. But I could wear the hat.
Wonderful. So can I go back to, we have a message from Louisa. Hello, what a privilege to be here and catch this live. A well of tears have released. Thank you, King Oak, Rachel, and Cynthia. Oh, thank you for joining us, Louisa.
Hey, Louisa, thank you.
So I would like to speak to King Oak again, if I can, please. King Oak, one of my girlfriends, Daphne, wanted to be here with us for this segment. However, she was say it's an honor to be here in spirit. And is there any message that you feel that you would like to relay to her?
Say more about Daphne.
She is a healer. She calls herself a conduit for the universe. She is an amazing woman. She works with many, many people, many animals. She brings joy everywhere she goes.
Daphne doesn't need a message from me. It's like she has so many messages. Everybody and everything is always happy to talk to Daphne.
You are very correct.
It just showed me this sense of all these things that communicate with Daphne and all of the like many species and beings, this planet other, this dimension others. It's like, yeah, they're all speaking with her all the time, so that's awesome.
That's definitely Daphne that you've tapped into for sure. So again, I want to put the invitation out to our viewers right now. If anyone has a message or has a question for King O, please share it in the comments. So,
may I just share something? Sorry.
Go on.
Well, it was just kind of brought forth by Louisa. So I met Louisa because I hold something called Language once a month, which is just a free gathering. And anybody that really, we connect the land all over the planet. You know, Louisa's in Australia, I'm in Scotland, there's people sometimes come from America, and we just give a space for the land to have voice. We usually meet on a Zoom once a month, and anybody that either wants to just hold space with the land, with the trees, with anything that really wants to be present. And sometimes we sit quiet, sometimes there's light language, sometimes there's movement. But we just choose to hold space for the land. So if anybody is called to come along, then please message me. I'd be happy to send the details.
Absolutely. And we can leave your contact information in the comments so people can reach out to you. Hi, Susan. Thank you for joining us. So the time has gone by so quickly. So I would like to speak with King Oak again, if I can, please.
Yes.
King Oak, thank you for joining us today. I appreciate that. I appreciate you. In closing, is there a message you would like to send out? Or something you would like to say, something you would like to share? We would all love to hear.
Simply be yourselves. The trees will always stand with you and by you. Be yourselves and know that tomorrow is a new day.
Beautiful. And we did have one message come through while you were sharing. Louisa would love to hear if there is a message for her, perhaps about how she can work with the trees and nature.
Dear Louisa, you already do, Louisa. You already do. It's time to acknowledge what's in your heart, take it forward, and choose to show up in all the ways that you already can and do.
Perfect. So thank you, King Oak. Again, I want to thank you and acknowledge you and send you love and light and healing and whatever it is that you give back to the earth, I want to give to you. So thank you.
He says that what he would really like is for everybody to tune in and do this sense of connecting everything. like connect all the people, all the trees, all the animals, all the life forms, all across the whole of the planet, like a grid form of lights, connect them all up. So instead of just sending love and light to one person, he's like asking that we can create this grid that interconnects every life form and send it across the whole planet, into the planet and out, so that we send it everywhere all in one go.
Yes,
And he said
I agree.
and he said if we would do that each day, it would make a huge difference. And that's his ask of us, that we each day, even just for like 1 minute, sit down, maybe with our backs against a tree, imagine that we connect either the hearts of all of us or the spirits of all of us, or the bodies of all of us, and just feel that sense of connecting all of us together and acknowledging that we are one, we are alive, and we are here.
And for those of us that may not be able to get out into nature, to put our backs up against a tree, we can set the intention.
Yes, and he says you can imagine, you can take his picture, put it on your phone, and imagine that you're sat against his trunk wherever you are in the world, and he will always receive you.
He is very mighty.
He's very benevolent. That's my sense of him. Benevolent, like I get mighty, but he just like there's a real benevolence to him.
Yes, absolutely. So thank you, Louise, or Rachel. I was reading Louise's thank you, thank you, thank you.
Oh, well, it's nice to read that, so I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah. So I want to thank you, Rachel. Before we part, do you have a message for our viewers or for those that catch the replay?
Only that I'm grateful to be here. I felt like it was a weird ask to ask you if Kingo could be on the show, and I had no idea what it would go like. And just to say, I'm really grateful to you for saying yes, and I'm really grateful to the trees for speaking through me, and I'm grateful that we can get the message into the world, and that we're here to create a new world, and we're doing it.
Yes, I am grateful that you did ask. I'm grateful that King Oak spoke, that he came through you. That's wonderful. I'm honored and privileged.
We might need to do a whole series on trees. There's a good few hundred of them here.
I agree. I think that might be in our future. So thank you, King Oak. Thank you, everyone that joined me today. As I've mentioned earlier, this is my last segment until the fall. I'm taking the summer off. I've been called to go barefoot through the dirt and the grass and be outside with Mother Nature this summer. So I'm cutting back on a lot of things. So Tea with the Universe will resume in the fall. Wake Up with the Wand will resume in the fall. My live readings will resume in the fall. I am shutting down a lot of things this summer so that I can open up. So thank you for being my final guest. I think we went out with a bang. I think that is wonderful. Hi, Lori. Thank you for joining us. So again, thank you everyone for joining me. Thank you, Rachel. Thank you, King Oak. Love and light, peace and harmony to everyone until we meet again. Namaste.
You. Namaste, and have a wonderful summer.
Thank you very much.